Hi, my name is Bob. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a member of the District 6 Technology Committee, and we are about to transfer our email domain to Google Workspace for nonprofits. I'm also currently serving as the Area 15 web servant, so I have access to this account. I'm going to just make a quick video demonstration of how to create an email and set it up for use. So first off, I'm going to say I'm in Google Chrome, and if you're working in Google Workspace, a lot of stuff's going to be disabled if you're not in Chrome. So you probably have to get used to using Chrome. So this is the admin account. I'm sitting here in the email account. Click on the profile picture, and there's Admin Console. That's where you need to go. All right, now there are two places that you need to go is users to create an email and a couple of other things in there. And then Gmail is where you can create a forward so that they'll start getting their emails right away at their designated, whether it's a personal or anonymity protected email. You notice these two are pinned, so I'm just going to say here under directory, that's where you find users. And under apps, then Google Workspace, that's where you find Gmail. It's probably a good idea to pin them. It's just a lot easier going into these things fairly often, especially right at the beginning. Okay, so you see users is also up here. There's add a user. I'm going to go into users through here. And you see there's add a new user here. Okay, so add a new user. You do have to put first name, last name. Don't put in anybody's first name, even with last initial. Use the position. In this case, I'm going to, part of the reason I'm using AA is just to bring it to the top. I'm going to call it AA test at area15aa.org. Actually, first, I'm going to just show you if I can type. If I try web servant, it will tell me there's an existing email. So don't be surprised if you see that at some point when you're typing something in, you have to go find it. So I'm going to add this user. Now there'll be a complex secure password. You can copy it there, but you're not going to really use that. Now, if this isn't showing up yet, I do have to. Okay, so there it is. Now, you want to reset the password generally, especially panel transition. It's a real challenge to try and send everybody notification of their complicated passwords. So you go into create a password. I'm just going to use simple-pw for this example. So what you want to do is leave this checked. Ask user to change their password when they sign in. That way they won't continue using a password that isn't fairly secure. And there's another reason which I'm going to get to. So I'm going to reset this to a simpler password. You can see it. You can copy it if you want. Now, part of resetting the password, you want to inform people to change it to something they are comfortable with, that they will remember, and write it down where they keep passwords. We don't need to know it on the back end. You can always come back in here and reset it, whether they forget it or there's a panel transition or some other reason why you need to reset it. Okay, from here, click in here, get to some details. What you want to do is go to security. Two things in here to show you. One is recovery information. What you really want to do is add the phone number of the person who's getting the email. That way they get their own recovery codes or their own challenge codes. Okay? So I'm just going to use let's see if it'll let me go completely fictitious. And Nope, it doesn't want to let me do that. Maybe it knows that that's not an area code, so I'm going to put in my area code, just knowing that that's at least good. Now it'll let me save it. Okay, so the other thing that you want to do, that you're going to need to do, is this login challenge. The first time they try to log in, and since this is a corporate account, Google Workspace for Nonprofits, you have to demonstrate that you're a 501(c) or something. So this is a corporate environment. What it's going to do is it's going to tell them sign into your corporate device first. And of course, they won't have a corporate device. So you also need to communicate that. First time they sign in, if they get this challenge, then they will have to contact whoever the administrator is or whoever's got the recovery phone number on the administrator and ask them to do the, make sure they know there's a 10-minute override is what they're looking for. So as soon as you click on that, all you have to do is click there, 10-minute, turn off for 10 minutes. You have to make sure that they're actually, this is something where you want to be in semi-close communication. You've got 10 minutes to do it, go do it. All right. After they do it once and they change their password, that's the other thing about changing their password. Once they change their password, they can get in. They can get in on other devices without the login challenge. So the other place is the Gmail here. There's a default routing right here. So the default routing is where you put in a forward. If you have another email for them, a personal or anonymity protected, whatever email they designate, you go into default routing and you see there are a bunch of them set up here. So what I would do is you have to go to the bottom down here to add another rule. So these are routing rules. And I would put in the email. And that's the one I just created. Now you go down to also deliver to. Add more recipients. So I need to go down here and add a recipient. So let's just say, since I've already used this one, call it web servant at area 15. I'm not sure it's going to allow this, but I think it will. Area 15 aa.org. So now anything, well, actually now not anything that's sent to that address will go to the web servant address, because the last thing we do have to change this. Okay, so perform this action only on non-recognized addresses, or perform it on non-recognized and recognized. So again, this is a corporate environment kind of thing. This by default is going to be maybe set to your IT security guy, where a non-recognized address external to area15aa.org in this case would also go to your IT security guy to make sure that it's not spam or malware, etc. But if we're forwarding it to somebody, we do need everything to go, so that if I send from an internal address, they'll get it. Otherwise, they won't. So that's the tricky thing, because if you go and you're sending, for example, if I were doing a panel changeover and I'm sending them information from web servant at area15aa.org, whoever I set up in here wouldn't get it if I left this up here, because it's an internal address. So now I'm going to save that. Another thing to communicate is that once they get their email set up for send and receive, if they get that email set up on their phone or they're using webmail or some other email client, then they can ask to have the forward turned off. And really two things. They can ask to have it turned off, or you can add more than one to the forwards. Now here's another trick. This new one's going to be on the last page here. It's always going to go to the last page. One of the options here is to reorder. You see they are numbered, so if you know where you want it, you can hit reorder. You just can type the number 1 in here to move it to the top. I'm not going to do that right now. So as I was mentioning, edit, you can add in here. You can delete when you hover over it. I don't know if you have a Chrome app, say on your iPad, you probably just need to touch there to bring up these controls. So you can add multiple people if a committee wants, say, their chairperson and alternate chairperson to receive things. But anyway, the other trick is if they were to say, I don't need it anymore, get rid of the forward. If you delete, then you might need to recreate it when you have a panel transition. So what you can do is just hit disable. And then then you can just go in and edit it for panel transition. I'm going to delete this one because we're basically finished. I don't want to save that. I'm going to do the same thing back here in users. I'm going to go in here under more options. I'm going to delete this user. And here's another little trick. They want you to transfer whatever data is in there. So if you don't change this and you go to delete user, it's going to ask you who are you transferring their data to. Well, since this is brand new, there's really no data in there except maybe an email saying congratulations on your new account. So don't transfer data, delete user. It's still showing there, but I can't get into it. Now it's gone.